You ever have a moment that flips your whole life upside down? Not with a bang, but with a sentence? You have two options: dismissal for cause or voluntary resignation by tomorrow. That's what Margaret Thompson said to me, across a cold conference table, with a smile so fake it could have been plastic. My name's Kesha Williams. I was 24, a night cleaner at Goldstein Industries. And apparently, I was a criminal now. I stared at the paper she handed me like it was written in another language. Theft. Unauthorized access. Margaret was eating this up. She'd hated me since day one. I could feel it in the way she never used my name. Just her, or that girl. But this was next level. You were in the CEO's office after hours, she said, sliding over a grainy black and white still from the security footage. It showed me sitting in the boss's chair. All right. But she cropped out the most important part. My daughter, Amara, 4 months old. She had a fever that night. Bad. And I couldn't find anyone to watch her. She started crying at work, wheezing so hard I thought she might choke. So I panicked, took her to the quietest, warmest room I could find, and nursed her. That's all. Interesting camera angle, I said. Calm. Too calm, maybe. Margaret didn't like that. Don't play smart, girl, she hissed. You broke rules. That's all anyone needs to know. That word. Girl. I folded the photo and slid it into my folder like it was a receipt. People like me, she added. Single mothers, uneducated, always playing the sympathy card. She didn't know who I really was. And I didn't feel like explaining. She told me security would be there in 10 minutes. She said my stuff would be mailed. That I'd never work again in this town. I stood up slow. Looked her dead in the eye. Did you check the hallway cameras? I asked. Or just the ones that made your story look neat? Her silence was all the answer I needed. As I walked out, I remember thinking, she thinks she just ended my story. But she didn't even see the prologue. 3 days later, I was in line at the bank at 6 a.m., Amara on my hip, a stack of overdue bills in my hand. The manager, Mr. Patterson, barely looked at me. Sorry, without proof of income, I can't help you, he muttered, avoiding my baby's eyes. I nodded. I understand. But what he didn't know, what no one knew, was that I had receipts. Not just of bills. Of everything. See, I wasn't just some cleaner. For 2 years, I'd worked nights at Goldstein, and I paid attention. While the execs left their screens unlocked, their paperwork out, I saw it all. Not because I was nosy, because I'd been burned before. At 16. Expelled for something I didn't do. No one believed me. Since then, I collected proof. Always. Margaret had made a fatal mistake. She thought I was invisible. Furniture. But I had a folder on my busted laptop labeled insurance, emails, screenshots, voice memos. Racist comments, fraud, shady hiring practices. She had no idea. She'd gone around bragging too. Told everyone she cleaned house. Literally. Said I tried to seduce the CEO. That I played the sick baby card. She was even laughing about it at Chester's bar with her work buddies. Too loud to notice me at the next table. Phone recording the whole damn thing. Every interview I went to after that. Same ending. Can you explain this termination? I'd smile. Say something polite. And walk out even more determined. Then one night, the phone rang. Unknown number. Ms. Williams? This is Alexander Goldstein. Yeah, that Alexander Goldstein, billionaire CEO. My hands shook. I just reviewed the full security footage, he said. Can you meet me tomorrow at 10? And bring your daughter, he added. I have some questions about last Thursday. Next morning, same building, but everything felt different. The security guard who threw me out? He opened the door for me this time. Said, Mr. Goldstein's expecting you. When I stepped into that office, Alexander stood up, offered me coffee, smiled at Amara like she was royalty. Then he pulled up the unedited footage. There I was, exhausted, rocking my baby, breastfeeding at 2:15 a.m., clearly in distress. Timestamp matched my shift. I'm sorry, Kesha, he said. You didn't deserve any of this. I opened my folder. That's not all you need to see. What followed was 30 minutes of silence, broken only by him flipping pages. Emails Margaret never thought I saw. Recordings of her mocking black employees. Approving fake invoices. Ignoring harassment complaints. Fabricating performance reviews. Jesus, he whispered. How long? 2 years documented. Probably longer. And then I played him that clip from Chester's bar. Margaret, drunk and proud. These people need to know their place. So I showed what mattered. her trespassing. Alexander's face turned stone cold. "You're not just getting your job back," he said. "I want you in our compliance department. And I want you there when we confront her. Oh, and one more thing. I went to law school," I told him. "Night classes. While I cleaned this building." He laughed. "Dr. Williams. That changes everything." When Margaret walked into that conference room at 2 p.m., she froze. Saw me, in a blazer, documents neatly spread, diploma framed on the table. She turned to Alexander. Furious. "What the hell is she doing here?" Alexander's voice cut through the air like a blade. "Sit down, Margaret." Then came the storm. Audio files, emails, falsified reports, fraudulent payments to her boyfriend's fake companies, 14 HR complaints she buried. She sputtered, begged, denied. But the facts didn't care. "You don't understand," she whispered. "I was protecting the company." "No," I said, finally letting my voice rise. "You were protecting yourself by destroying others." She was fired. Charges filed. Press notified. Channel 7 played that clip of her saying, "These people need to know their place." And suddenly, she was the headline. Alexander turned to me. "The HR position is vacant. Interested?" 6 months later, I was sitting behind that desk. Amara's photo beside my nameplate. Dr. Kesha Williams, Director of Human Resources. We had a nursery now. 53 employees used it. And Margaret? Her trial's next week. 14 discrimination suits settled. Total payouts? $2.3 million. Her career? Ashes. One morning, Patricia, my assistant, came in. "There's someone here to see you." It was Margaret. She looked hollow. Cheap clothes. No makeup. No arrogance. Just a woman with nothing left. "I came to apologize," she whispered. I didn't stand. Didn't smile. "Why now? Because you're sorry? Or because you got caught?" She stared at her shoes. "Because I was wrong." I looked at her, really looked. "You don't get to rewrite history, Margaret. You tried to erase me, but I kept the receipts." She nodded, tears in her eyes. "I know." I told her she could leave. As she walked out, I held Amara close, and I realized something. Sometimes, when they try to bury you, they forget you're a seed. And I grew into a tree so tall. It cast shade over everyone who tried to cut me down. So let me ask you, folks watching this, was it justice? Revenge? Or just the system finally cracking open for someone like me? Drop your thoughts below, right or wrong. Let's talk about it. And I'm thinking, this can't be happening, right? But there I was, in the back of that cruiser, cuffs still tied on my wrists, watching my own neighborhood blur past the window like I didn't belong anymore. And maybe I didn't, not the way they saw me. The officer driving, big guy, shaved head, kept glancing at me through the mirror like he wanted to say something, but didn't. And the younger one riding shotgun? He was still fired up, like the adrenaline hadn't worn off yet, tapping his knee and muttering about how people like me never learn. I didn't say a word. I just stared out the window, jaw clenched, trying to hold it together. When we pulled into the station, the lights were blinding, those fluorescent overheads that make everything feel colder than it already is. They marched me in through the side door, not the front, like they didn't want anyone seeing me come in. And the second we stepped inside, it hit me, the silence. That heavy kind of silence where even the hum of the vending machine sounds loud. They sat me down in a holding room with peeling paint and a busted chair, and for what felt like hours, nobody came in. No lawyer, no phone call, nothing. Just me and my racing thoughts and the faint smell of mildew in the air. Then, maybe 2 hours later, I don't know, I lost track of time, this guy walks in. Not a cop, not in uniform, but clearly someone with authority. He's wearing a suit, old school kind, with a tie that looked like it had seen better days. He pulls up a chair, sets down a manila folder, and says, calm as ever, "Mind telling me what happened out there?" And I look at him, confused, like, who even are you? But then I notice the badge clipped to his belt, Internal Affairs. Suddenly I realize this ain't about me anymore. It's about them. I tell him everything. Every detail. How it started, where I was standing, what I said, what I didn't say, how the guy tackled me from behind without warning. He listens. Like, really listens. And he doesn't interrupt, doesn't give me that, sure, look that cops usually do. At the end, he opens the folder. Inside are photos, screenshots, body cam stills. And right there, in full color, is that moment. Me on the ground, hands up, and that officer with his knee in my back. Clear as day. He closes the folder and says, "That's what I thought." Turns out, someone had leaked the footage. A neighbor across the street had one of those new smart doorbells, caught the whole thing in 4K, with sound. And guess what? That video had already gone viral while I was sitting in that cell, not even knowing. Twitter, TikTok, Reddit. People were already marching outside the precinct by the time this IA guy started talking to me. And now they had no choice but to take it seriously. They let me go 2 hours later. No apology. Just handed me my stuff in a plastic bag and pointed me to the exit. I walked outside to a wall of camera flashes and angry chants. Some folks were holding up signs with my name on them. I hadn't even said my name publicly yet. And in the middle of the crowd, my sister. She ran to me, hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe for a second, and whispered, "We're not letting this go." That night, I didn't sleep. I couldn't. My phone was blowing up, DMs from strangers, journalists, lawyers offering pro bono help, even a few celebrities reposting the video with captions like, "This has to stop." And honestly, it was overwhelming. I wasn't ready to be a headline. I was just a guy walking home. But then, something shifted. That same officer, the younger one, the angry one, he got suspended within 48 hours. Paid leave, of course, but still. The other guy, the one who drove me, he reached out. Not publicly, not officially. Just a message. He said, "I should have spoken up. I'm sorry." I didn't reply. I still haven't. Because I don't know what's worse, being heard, or being seen and still ignored. Weeks passed. The protests kept growing. City council called for an emergency session. Body cam policies changed. Officers reassigned. And me? I got subpoenaed to testify. First time I'd ever been in a courtroom where I wasn't the one on trial. I told the truth. Every part of it. And when I walked out of that courthouse, I felt lighter. Not free. Not yet. But lighter. But here's the twist I didn't see coming. One night, about a month later, I'm walking my dog. Same hoodie. Same route. Same everything. And a car pulls up. Tinted windows. My heart drops. I brace myself, thinking it's retaliation or something. But then the window rolls down, and it's him. The older officer. The one who stayed silent that night. He tells me he quit. Said he couldn't do it anymore. Said watching that footage made him sick. And then he hands me something. A flash drive. Says, "This is from my locker. It's not just your case. There's more. Way more." And just like that, everything changed again.